Before we begin, there are a few things that you are going to need. Number one is obviously some sort of eyeshadow palette. And I would prefer the palette to be mixed with matte and shimmer shades if you're going to stick to one palette. But if not, you can just pick two separate palettes or two different single eyeshadow shades. For me, I'm going to be using the Morphe NC palette. I feel like with this palette, I can do something really simple, because if you're starting off and doing cut creases, you don't want to start off doing something too creative. You want to stick to the basics till you got it down packed, and then you can expand from there. Also, you're going to need blending brushes, at least one blending brush. For today's tutorial, we're just going to be going in with one crease shade. So just depending on the amount of different crease shades you want to add into your crease to build up whatever color that you're doing, depends upon how many blending brushes you want to use. Or you can just use one and use a what they call an instant brush cleaner. You just spray it on your brush and clean it real fast. So whatever you prefer. I showed you guys 3 different ones just so you guys can kind of get an idea of the different types of blending brushes that there are. But any one of the 3 or any variation of them will be good. To cut your crease and to add glitter shadow to the cut crease itself, you're going to need some type of concealer or carving out brush. For me, these are the 3 options that I have. I'll probably end up using 2 different ones. I definitely won't use all 3. I don't typically prefer the square brush that you guys saw, which was this one right here. I don't really prefer this one, but if that's all you have, then that's all you have. For your final brush product, it will be a winged liner or a liner pencil of any sort, and that is optional. It's not something that I feel like you have to have in order to create a cut crease. It's just an option to make it more perfect, so to speak, when it comes to carving out the crease and wanting your lines to be on point. Definitely use a liner that is meant for typically eyeliner, but you'll be using it for concealer. The one I have is very, very thin, and if it were up to me, I think I'm gonna go and get the bigger one of that same liner brush, and it's not angled. That one's the angled one, but Morphe also has another one that they have at Ulta that's a little bit thicker. I think I'm gonna go get that one because I feel like that one will probably be easier to work with. Because that's so thin, it's kind of a little tedious to try and get my lines like super perfect with that one. For the final product, you will need some type of concealer. Now for me, I prefer a cream-based concealer over a liquid concealer. I know Tarte Shape Tape, people love to use that to cut their crease as well as using it underneath their eyes and all that good stuff. For me personally, I just prefer a cream because I feel like it is easier for me to work with. But whatever you prefer, whatever you feel like works best for you, definitely use that. I'm always using the NARS concealer. That's just my preference and my choice. You guys know that. For you who have been watching me constantly, you guys know that the NARS concealer is like my holy grail for my eyes, and I just won't put it down and stop using it. So in today's tutorial, that's the concealer that I will use. Now we can start. Now the first thing you want to do is either prime or conceal your eyelids and set it with some kind of powder, because my face is already made up and the base is already laid out. I don't have to do any of that. Now you can definitely do this cut crease first. That way if you mess up, you can just wipe it right off and you don't have to worry about having a full face on already. Or you can do your face and then do your eyeshadow, which is typically how people do their makeup. But me, I go back and forth all the time. So today we are rocking with a full face and we're gonna get this video started. So I'm gonna grab this palette. This is again the Morphe 9C, and I'm gonna do something really, really simple because I don't want to confuse you guys. So for my crease shade, I'm gonna go in with Rich Girl, which is this purple looking shade right here, and I'm gonna put that and build it up in my crease. Now it's okay if it gets on my lid a little bit. I'm not gonna panic because the concealer will conceal all of that. So all I'm gonna be doing is just building this shadow up as much as I can and as much as I want in my crease. So to do that, I'm just gonna take the blending brush and I'm gonna be using the Morphe M504, which is this one right here. And I'm gonna dip into the pan and I'm going to build it up. Now I'm going to start off with a very, very light hand. So I'm just lightly going into my crease. And if you don't know how to find your crease, just close your eyes, put your brush down where you think your crease is, and open your eye. And that indent right in there, that's your crease. So you just want to build that shadow up, like I said, as much as you can. You can go even a little bit above your crease. That's like the look nowadays, to like take eyeshadow up almost to your eyebrows, but I'm not gonna get too crazy with it, and I'm just gonna keep rocking it back and forth into my crease. And I'll sometimes do like this circular motion to just make sure that the eyeshadow is all blended out. But you just want to keep doing that until you get the pigment that you want. So something like this, it looks less pigmented on camera than it does in person, but I can keep on going if I want, or I can stop right here, whatever it is that I want to do. Also, you can do a C shape, which is following the exact crease of your eye, or when you get to the end part, you can kind of like flick it out a little bit to kind of create that wing shape. So for me, that's what I'm going to do, because I want to show you guys how to extend your cut crease. So if you're going to extend your cut crease, like I'm going to show you how to do, you're definitely going to want to flick that shadow out just a little bit. Not like super dramatic, but just a little bit. That way when you cut your crease and extend the cut outside of your natural lid, or your lid, you have shadow at the top. Does that make sense? Let's say that you put too much shadow on and it's looking a little too dark for you. Just take a clean blending brush, no added product, and just blend all of that shadow out, and just keep blending with that clean brush with no product on it, so you can blend it out. And it will dilute the color just a little bit, and it will also help with the blending. But you just got to keep blending, blending, blending. And just remember, I'm using very light pressure when I'm doing this. So I'm like barely putting force on my brush. It's almost like taking a feather and just, you know, rubbing it against your skin. That's how light you want to be. Now that I got both eyes where I want them, now here comes the tough part, or what's going to be basically the toughest part of this whole process. You're going to take your concealer. You're also going to take your concealer brush, any kind of flat brush that will allow you to cut your crease. So for me, I'm going to go in with the smaller one. I feel like the smaller one allows me to be a little bit more precise. And with the bigger one, I feel like I'm bound, because especially because my eyelids are so small, I'm bound to go a little too far up. So since I feel like I can control the smaller brush better, I'm going to go right into my concealer, just very little. And I'm even going to swatch it on the back of my hand, so that way it's not too much going on at one time. And now we are going to cut our crease. So what I'm going to do is take the concealer and I'm going to place it on the edge of my eye. Like that. Then I'm going to look up, see where it goes. It went like right here. So I know that's how far up I need to cut my crease. So you're just going to basically just shape the bottom half of your eye. So basically your lid, all of your lid is going to be covered in concealer. It's just the matter of the crease, how far into the crease you should go, which is why I looked up, so I know how deep in to take the concealer. Hopefully this is making sense. So you definitely want to take your time with this part, because it can be very tedious. Now when it comes to that liner brush that I showed you guys, I dip this into the concealer And then I take it and I line the top. It's not perfect, but which is why I want to get the other liner brush. And then I just go back in with that flat brush and continue carving it out. Now I'm going to show you guys how I extend my cut crease. So I like to take the liner brush and kind of like make it seem like I'm doing like winged liner, but instead of what is it, like that liner gel stuff, I'm using concealer. That's the only difference. So I'll take it just like I would do a wing liner, extend it up a little bit, and then make the top part meet with the bottom. So it creates like this triangle effect. And then I'm just going to connect everything and fill it in. Okay, now for the final step is just adding the glitter or shimmer shade or whatever it is that you want to put on that cut crease area. Now I will say this probably is not my best work, but I hope you guys are understanding the point that I'm trying to get across. So for my shimmer shadow, I'm going to be using Purple Rain in the palette, and it's like this glittery purple shade right here, and it's really, really pretty. And I'm going to use that to put directly on top of the concealer. So we already laid out the foundation in which we need to just follow. So it's like following the yellow brick road. You're just going to follow that concealer and use either the same concealer brush, which you can clean and just use it for your shimmer shade, or you can just take another concealer brush, which is what I'm going to do, and just apply the shimmer directly on top of the concealer. Now to get a more metallic finish and probably a little more pigmented depending on which shadow you're using, you can definitely spray your brush with either MAC Fix Plus spray or any kind of facial spray. I don't really know how the other sprays work, so don't quote me, but I know MAC Fix Plus definitely works. You just spray that onto your brush, not closely, just far away, just damp it just a little bit, dip into the shadow and apply it to your lid. So that's what I'm gonna do, and you're just gonna follow along, like I said, the concealer that you have already laid out on your lid. Just in case some of that pigment was lost, we're gonna go back into Rich Girl and just put that in the crease, lightly. So this is what we created today. I won't say it's my best work, like I said before, but I hope I got my point across, and I hope you guys understand better now how to do a cut crease if you didn't know, and learned a few tips and tricks from me. I really enjoyed creating this video. If there's anything else that I do on my channel or that's done in general that you guys want me to do a video on in specific, definitely let me know down below. It does not have to be makeup, but all your suggestions are welcome. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video or vlog, whichever one comes first.